Hi everyone, this is Dr. Chhoda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll give you the latest status of the stimulus negotiations between House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. Today is Sunday, October 4th, and as you know, the Senate is in recess until October 19th. I'll talk to you about the impact that this has on the stimulus negotiations, how they change with this new development, because 3 Republican senators at this time have been diagnosed as positive with COVID, and of course the big most important factor, which is the president's health, and also the fact that the president has tweeted 5 times since he has since he was diagnosed, and one of those 5 times has been the president essentially pushing US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, the administration, and by extension the Republicans, to have a stimulus deal. I'll sort of tie all of these things in together for you, and let's get started. Before I do that, my name is Dr. Chhoda with Ignition Time. Thank you so much for being a viewer and a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber yet, please consider clicking subscribe. Please consider enabling the notification button and also clicking like. That's your vote of confidence in us. That helps out the YouTube algorithm, and I would really appreciate that. So with that being said, here's where things stand right now. According to recent reports, and by the way, I'll provide you with all my sources in the description section below, so definitely check out the link in the description section below. According to internal sources, a lot of sources have expressed confidence that a deal could be reached, and specifically the outlines of a deal could be reached between House Speaker Pelosi and US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin by the middle of the week. So we're talking probably Wednesday or Thursday when they can come to a consensus. But keep in mind that as the president pushes harder and harder, it's possible that the deal could be reached sooner. So White House officials have confirmed privately that they feel confident that there could be the outline of a deal, the contours of a stimulus deal by the middle of week. And these are private conversations that are going on right now between US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. And they have revived bipartisan talks, and there were reports that they are working through the weekend, so we can expect more information to emerge in the next 24 hours. So there is a lot of optimism that a deal can indeed be reached. I just want to be clear though, there are still areas where the two sides are apart, but it seems that the Republicans are getting closer and closer to the Democrats. One of those aspects is aid for state and local governments. The Democrats want $436 billion right now, and the Republicans have offered $250 billion through the $1.62 trillion package that US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin proposed to House Speaker Pelosi a few days ago, and I did announce that on my channel, so you can check out the full outline of that proposal if you want. Also, the Democrats want a bill that's close to $2.2 trillion based on their benchmark, their parameter, their line in the sand, which was the updated version of the HEROES Act. Whereas US Treasury Secretary Mnuchin has said that the administration's position is, I quote, in the neighborhood of $1.5 trillion. So there's still a gap of about $700 billion, but it was reported that US Treasury Secretary Mnuchin has been talking to Republican lawmakers to get them to agree to more state and local aid, which would bring the cost of this package closer and closer to $2 trillion. The higher it gets, the harder it will be for Republicans to get behind it. Now, speaking of Republicans, the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell did tweet that Senate floor proceedings will be postponed until the 19th of October. And, for the Republicans, a high priority is to get the SCOTUS vacancy filled with Judge Amy Coney Barrett. And the full statement of Leader McConnell basically says that there's going to be a pro forma. Basically, here's what Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said: on Monday, I intend to obtain a consent agreement for the Senate to meet in pro forma sessions for the next 2 weeks. Previously scheduled floor activity will be rescheduled until after October 19th, which is 2 weeks from today, because October 19th is a Monday. So I just want my viewers and subscribers to understand that pro forma basically means a shortened, more abbreviated, essentially a rapid fire version of the session. So the senators will be back on the Senate floor on October 19th, and the reason this is happening is that 3 senators have tested positive: Senator Ron Johnson, Senator Thom Tillis, and Senator Mike Lee. So what's happened is that because of this, essentially for safety reasons, the Senate Majority Leader has essentially proposed that this will happen. But he also said in his statement, senators will be given at least 24 hours should votes need to occur during the pro forma posture. So here's what this means. Assuming that a deal gets struck next week, or assuming that a deal gets struck at some point in the next few days, and I do believe that is very highly likely, because the president is starting to pressure the administration, specifically US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. He has received orders from the Commander-in-Chief to get things done publicly. So, there is pressure on US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin to come to a deal and to make sure that he gets House Speaker Pelosi to agree, and and make sure that he gets enough Republicans on board, which, by the way, is going to be a shared responsibility between Steven Mnuchin and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell under the direction of the president. So that is what's happening right now. But the important thing to note here is, the higher the degree of pressure from the president, okay, the greater the probability of a deal happening in principle between House Speaker Pelosi and US Treasury Secretary Mnuchin, and the higher the probability that the Senate Majority Leader will get enough Republicans on board, because essentially, the Senate Majority Leader has told the president that, hey, whatever you want to do, we'll do. So as the president starts to put more and more pressure, it's quite possible that A, deal is struck, and B, that even though the Senate is essentially, the Senate floor is adjourned till October 19th, which is 2 weeks from today, that senators come back for a pro forma vote in a hybrid manner, meaning some of them are on, some of them do it remotely, and it's basically done, and then they do indeed vote. But I think we're sort of putting the cart before the horse. There are two things that need to happen before the Senate votes on the stimulus bill. The first is that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin need to come to a consensus. That's the first thing. The second is the House needs to vote on this updated, let's call it the third version, HEROES Act 3.0. Okay, we can call it whatever we want, but right now the updated version of the HEROES Act, which is a $2.2 trillion bill, which was passed by the House, it's not going to go forward in the Senate. So there's most likely going to be a third version of the stimulus bill. I would be extremely surprised if the HEROES Act goes through the Senate. I don't see that happening. So what's most likely to happen is a third version of the bill, a deal is struck, then the whole bill is drafted and or modified from the updated version of the HEROES Act, which could take a day, it could take 3 or 4 days. So, and number two is it gets passed by the House, which can take anywhere from a day to maybe 2 or 3 days. So that could take up all of next week. Now that takes us into the following week. That would be the week of October the 12th, I believe. So today is the 4th, yeah, the week of October 12th, because October 12th is a Monday. So in that week, assuming that there is enough pressure from the president, and there are a lot of variables up in the air over the next 7 days. The president's health is a number one variable. So in that week, if the president puts enough pressure, even in the coming week, as long as there's enough pressure, it is quite possible that the Senate could come back and vote through the pro forma session and not have to wait until October 19, because what will happen is once the Senate votes, then the president has to sign it, and that could take anywhere from a day, it could happen same day, it could happen 3 days. And then at that point, the US Treasury Secretary starts distributing stimulus checks. I know that the stimulus checks took a long time with the first CARES Act, but the US Treasury Secretary specifically said that, with everything they've learned from the first CARES Act, now they feel that they can get the checks out much, much faster. So we are looking at two scenarios. Scenario one, there's an agreement in this coming week, and I'll provide you with updates as that happened. And then the Senate finds a way to vote on it during their pro forma session, and the following week, the week of October 12th, it gets signed and money starts going out the week of October 19th. That's scenario one. Scenario two, that these negotiations drag on for another 7, 8, 10 days, and then the Senate comes back October 19th and then votes on something. I've mentioned this earlier on my videos. There is a change in the dynamic, and if you read the writing on the wall, there is a very, very, very high probability, and that is, I feel confident about that. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict the future, but I can tell you that the president's diagnosis, the fact that the president contracted the illness, unfortunately, has created a slew of, it's created a political reality. On top of that, we have the economic reality where, tens of thousands of individuals are losing their jobs. And so, so this has created essentially a necessity for further stimulus, and that is where we are right now. So in a nutshell, that is where things stand right now. And again, I want to be clear, the president has tweeted 5 times from Walter Reed Medical Center in Bethesda, and one of them was pushing for more stimulus. So the president said, and I quote, "Our great USA wants and needs stimulus. Work together and get it done." So the president is really starting to push now. This, by the way, is the second time the president is pushing for more stimulus, and US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin is now heavily incentivized to get a relief deal. The president wants to show that he's active, he's getting things done, and like I mentioned, there are a lot of bad headlines. There's a political necessity, there's an economic necessity, and in case you haven't noticed, there's an election coming up. So Steven Mnuchin is also eager for a deal, and while Mark Meadows is essentially busy with the president in the hospital, Steven Mnuchin is working with the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to get things done. And they're still haggling. I want to be clear, they're still haggling. Both sides are still haggling over state and local funding. And House Speaker Pelosi does want a $2 trillion package, and the White House has indicated it's closer to the one. It's more comfortable, closer to the $1.5 trillion range. And at this point in time, I would say anything is possible. It's quite possible that Steven Mnuchin, according to Politico, and I'm going to quote Politico, "Isn't it time for Mnuchin to throw Republicans under a speedily moving bus and dare GOP lawmakers to oppose the president while he's in the hospital? If the president wants a massive multi-trillion dollar bill, isn't this the time to give him one?" And I would just add to that, isn't this the time to finally give the American people what they've been waiting for? I believe that you should get a stimulus check. I believe there should be an extension of unemployment benefits. I've been saying that from day one. And what I'm trying to do is to get you the latest news, and I'm a messenger. And so I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be that messenger for you. For me, it's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm American. We are all Americans first before we are Democrats and Republicans. So Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said that he'll only put a bill on the floor if it has the support of a majority of Republicans. And basically where things stand right now is that the president essentially needs a political win at this point in time, and that is essentially where things stand right now. And guys, I just want to be honest, it's looking very highly likely, but it is starting to get tight the longer this drags on. And like I said, the big variable is the president's health. I'll be doing another video talking a little bit more in detail about the president's health. I'm giving you folks more information about that in a separate video. But even if a deal comes together this week, the Senate won't be back in session until October 19th. Could they be called back for a pro forma vote to vote on the stimulus bill as early as next week, the week of October the 12th? That's possible. Anything's possible in this environment. I think a big driver of this is going to be the president, and the president has already indicated that there needs to be a stimulus deal. So that's where things stand right now, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. If you don't know anything about me, check out my video. I have the fortune, the honor, the privilege of living the American dream, and I want to help you live your American dream. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. Please click like. Please subscribe, please enable notifications. That's your vote of confidence in us, me and my team. We work hard to bring you these videos. Also, follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. Also follow us on Twitter. We release breaking news and alerts on Twitter. You'll get breaking news from us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. Now you can get alerts from us. Get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or the word time to 70,000. That's 70000. You'll get added to SMS alerts list, and this way you'll get breaking news and alerts from us. You can also get added to our email list. Our email to get on our email alerts list, go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts. You can opt out of the SMS list or the email list at any point in time that you choose to. Finally, YouTube does not always send out notifications on time. Sometimes they come late. So what you can do is simply bookmark youtube.com/ignitiontime. That's youtube.com/ignitiontime. This way you can visit our homepage and you can watch the videos at any point in time that you want. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, and I'm hoping that I can bring you positive news. Whatever it is, I'll bring you the truth, and I'm not going to give you any inaccurate information. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.